And after months of bad blood, US President Donald Trump expressed readiness to engage in negotiations with India to resolve ongoing trade disputes. He has also expanded his sanctions rhetoric, now targeting EU bloc over lack of action. President Trump on Tuesday stated in a post on social media that his administration is actively engaged in ongoing negotiations with India to address trade barriers. He expressed optimism about reaching a favorable agreement and mentioned his anticipation of speaking with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the coming weeks. Now, Prime Minister Modi responded to President Trump's remarks on the ongoing trade talks, saying that India and the US are close and natural partners. Modi expressed confidence that negotiations will unlock the limitless potential of the partnership and affirmed that both sides aim to conclude talks soon. Last year in 2024, US-India two-way trade amounted to $129 billion, with the US incurring a $45.8 billion trade deficit. Despite recent tensions, both nations are committed to resolving trade issues through dialogue. Trump acknowledged India's proposal to reduce tariffs but emphasized the need for further concessions. He expressed confidence that the ongoing negotiations would lead to a mutually beneficial outcome. Trump described Prime Minister Modi as a very smart man and a great friend, highlighting the strong diplomatic ties between the two leaders. The Trump administration's recent softening of tone marks a tactical shift after weeks of sharp criticism. Analysts say the US risks strategic costs if it alienates India at a time of rising Chinese influence in Asia. Former officials and Republican leaders like Nikki Haley have also warned against jeopardizing decades of cooperation. As President Trump signals readiness to return to the negotiating table and with Prime Minister Modi open to dialogue, all eyes are now on the next round of trade talks with billions at stake and a growing strategic partnership on the line. These discussions could reshape economic ties between Washington and New Delhi. Now, to get a more detailed understanding of how things have shaped up so far, now I'm being joined by Siddhant Sibal, our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, joining me on the broadcast. Siddhant, going from India and Russia are dead economies to, bye-bye India and we have lost India to now, okay, we are back to negotiations. It's a classic Trump way of negotiating. And of course, Prime Minister Modi has responded at the opportune time. Give us more.
Well, yes, blow hot, blow cold is something that is very Trumpish in many ways. But clearly the green shoots of recovery that started over the weekend with the Indian Prime Minister responding to Donald Trump's remarks on friendship are really growing, with Donald Trump now commenting on the restart of the talks, and the Indian Prime Minister again reciprocating, pointing out how they are natural partners, how there is a limitless possibility between the two countries and the relationship being brought to track, especially at the political level. Now, at the heart of the current situation was the trade deal, and this is something that Donald Trump wanted. Of course, India had its red lines, especially when it comes to farmers, when it comes to the MSMEs and others as well. And it looks like in next few weeks and months, the negotiators from the two sides will be negotiating to come out with a mutually satisfactory trade deal. But all in all, it will be seen as a blip in the relationship, which has a lot of lessons for the Indian side especially. But the development coming just days after we know that the Indian Prime Minister was seen with the Chinese President, the Russian President at the SCO summit. Those informal visuals ahead of the SCO summit are something that, of course, really caused a lot of angst in the West, especially in the United States, with Donald Trump posting, including saying that they've lost India to China. But clearly there is a lot of back channel diplomacy that is happening, and perhaps that led to what is seen as the relationship coming back to track.
Yeah, Siddhant, just to touch upon what you just mentioned, those visuals, they're fresh in everyone's minds of the three leaders standing together in Tianjin, and of course it resonated all the way to Washington very, very deeply. Now, this statement which has come in from Donald Trump, is it kind of an acknowledgement also that, okay, we just need to make do with the kind of ties that India has developed in other parts of the world?
Well, essentially, that could be one perspective, but the other big perspective is dealing with Donald Trump, who, of course, changes his mind, his views almost on an hourly basis. So, essentially, with a leader almost changing his comments almost every day, is seen as a not very trustworthy leader. In fact, if you see the comments of the Indian leadership in past few weeks, there has been a lot of focus on trust. In fact, we know that last week when the Indian External Affairs Minister and the German Foreign Minister held their joint press conference here in Delhi, the specific focus from the Indian side is that we need partners who are trustworthy. And that's the clear message from New Delhi to Washington.
Absolutely, Siddhant, bringing out a key point there of what India says, and of course, Trump's nature and his statements seem to be changing by the hour. We'll need to just wait and watch what comes next. That was Siddhant Sibal getting us the latest from New Delhi.